What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. In today's video, I want to break down the Survive Arrakis trailer that came out alongside the Dune Awakening Direct, where we got a lot of information about what's coming in Dune Awakening. Now, if you haven't seen the video where I break down the information that's in the Dune Direct, I will link that in the description of this video so you can get over and watch that. Prior to getting into my review of this trailer, I do want to play it in its entirety, and in case you missed this detail in the trailer, the visuals that you will see from this trailer were captured both in-game and from the Unreal Engine interface.
Arrakis is a test. Few survive it. Arrakis is a test. Few survive it. But the humans that do awaken.
So the trailer starts out and we see this person just crossing the sand. They're moving slowly and then they faint or fall to the ground. My guess is that this is either a cinematic or the animation for what happens if you die to dehydration. You can see some rock outcroppings in the distance, but there's no possible way for this person to make it to those before they end up fainting from the dehydration, and the world just looks massive with the sun blaring down on this character all the way through, giving you a sense of how brutal it can be to be out in those elements in this huge landscape. It then moves on to this cave scene, and this particular character will show up a bunch through this trailer. So I have a feeling that a lot of the in-game footage comes from this section when you're seeing this character on screen. But if we break this down, we're in a cave, we find a Fremen kit, we then climb our way out of this cave, and we get our first look at the rugged landscape of Arrakis. If you pay close attention to these scenes prior to the flashes, you can see not only do we have a Fremen kit, we have a handheld light, and then there appears to be some sort of blade on the hip of this character. We instantly move to narrowly escaping a sandworm running across the desert sands. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a regular interaction in this game. Anytime you want to move from one rocky surface to another, you're going to have to cross some kind of sand area where the sandworm is going to appear and try to gobble you up. Joel mentioned in the direct that he wanted the sandworms to create tension in the game world. So my guess would be the map would be designed where you have to cross these areas where there's a potential for a sandworm to pop up and just eat you alive. We then get our first look at what it's going to be like harvesting resources in Dune Awakening. It looks like we have some sort of handheld laser device, and if you look closely, it appears that there's a line on the resource that we need to follow the path on in order to get those resources. We see this again with an upgraded tool a little bit later on in the trailer and a different resource that is being harvested. Now, it could be a function that following that line gives you more resources or that it actually harvests a resource faster. I don't know. We'll have to wait until we get our hands on it to see what that highlighted area actually does. I also find it interesting that he appears to be harvesting a downed ornithopter, and I'm wondering whether we are going to get parts for our own ornithopter that way. So let's look at building and crafting. There's a lot going on in these quick clips that we see in this trailer. Now, first of all, you can see some building going on. You can also see some crafting going on. Now, Joel mentioned that what made the building system in Dune Awakening unique is that you can set the ghost image of your base, set it all up, and then everybody that's in your clan can then contribute resources to those actual building pieces, making the building system a communal experience. And it looks like he has some kind of projection tool in his hand while he's building these pieces. A bit later in the video, we get a look at what could be possible with the building system as they slap together this massive complex in the game. So very cool visuals, very interesting building pieces, and a unique style that fits the Dune universe. In a closer look at this build, we can see what appears to be wind turbines, maybe to generate power. We also have a helipad for our ornithopter, and then where they're standing is actually just a balcony where they look out over a battlefield a little bit later on in the trailer. Overall, I feel like the building that they put together for this trailer is really visually stunning, and I can't wait to get my hands on this game and see what I can create. Let's look at the vehicles that are present in the trailer. So we have the single person vehicle, the dirt bike or the sand bike. We obviously have the ornithopter that we see in multiple areas. Now, it's unclear whether this is a single person vehicle or if you can have multiple people in it. But we also have some of the larger land vehicles as well, where it looks like maybe you'll be able to have multiple people riding in that vehicle. It's also unclear whether there will be storage in any of these vehicles, but I would guess that that's the way you are going to move resources around and avoid the sandworm, is to have some sort of vehicle to get yourself around the map so that you can traverse it with a little bit less danger from the elements or from, say, the sandworms, but maybe there's more danger from the PvP aspect of things, being shot down by other people flying around, or maybe being shot down from a ground to air kind of weapon. And I think there will be ground-to-air weapons as we watch this ship explode and crash down, and our player is actually chasing that ship and then looting it. There's then another ship that shows up maybe to interrupt their looting capabilities. So I feel like this is part of the gameplay loop. You're going to see things in the sky that you can shoot down, then race to get those resources before something else shows up to stop you. There could also be player engagement and interaction in this area depending on where that ship wrecks. And I think this is all a PvE interaction. I don't feel like those ships that we're seeing were shown in any of the vehicle kind of clips that we saw a little bit earlier. So I have a feeling that those are going to be ways for us to gain better resources and not something that we're actually going to be able to fly. We then have three pretty stunning visuals that are displayed that I feel like are going to be points of interest or possibly the equivalent of a dungeon in Dune Awakening. Each one of them seems to have its own kind of ambiance or feel to it, a very red corridor, a very bright and light corridor, and then we have this weird structure with this maybe creature inside the glass. All of them very visually stunning, and I'm looking forward to exploring each one. There's this quick flash of a couple of things here. So I feel like these are also POIs, but there's a different feel to both of these than there are to the images that I showed you previously. These don't feel like they're newly made structures, where the other ones felt like they were modern and new and had a lot of influence from technology, whereas these images make me feel like they are more ancient relics. And actually, the second image here makes me feel like we're in some kind of spice dream or dream world, some kind of altered reality where the rules of physics like gravity just don't seem to be in effect. As we've seen in multiple clips from this trailer, there is going to be climbing in the game, but I really want to focus on combat at this point in time. There really isn't a whole lot to go off for combat in this trailer, but as we've seen, we do have blades, we also have the ranged weapons, the guns, and then we have some vehicle combat using what looks to be mounted guns as well as missiles. We have this shot where a player appears to be using a hunter-seeker drone to take out an enemy guard in this area. We have this shot from the trailer where it looks like you are shooting a vehicle with some kind of laser weapon, and the other character that's on screen appears to be using more of a standard base rifle. There's a couple of clips that show powers that go by so fast you almost can't tell what's going on. Obviously, in this clip, they're using some kind of area of effect power to change the way that they interact with this POI. The next clip is actually 3 characters flying upwards towards the top of this POI. And we see this same kind of animation happening towards the end of the trailer where these same 3 characters are floating down to the ground. So it would appear that there's some kind of personal equipment that would allow you to defy gravity in different ways. And I find this final scene to the trailer rather interesting. It looks like they're descending upon the battlefield that they were watching through the binoculars earlier. There's this sole person that has survived the battle, and he walks up and offers his hand to that person. Now, I don't know whether that's another player and maybe they're inviting them into the clan, or it's an NPC and there's some sort of function to recruit them in the game. All in all, that's what I spotted in the trailer. Don't forget to whack the like button on your way out and let me know in the comments section below what did you pick out from this trailer. I'd like to thank all my YouTube members for their continued support. Y'all are absolute legends. If you want to learn more about becoming a YouTube member, click the join button below this video. Memberships start as low as $1.99.